Hello there everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids, and in today's video I want to show you a one key team for the hard difficulty of Hydra. I think people have been, from some of the people I've been talking to, they've actually been finding this rotation harder than expected. You know, it is actually quite tough when you're bringing in like specialist champions to counter some of these heads, and just the raw damage coming at you with Wrath. It can actually be kind of spooky. It's definitely scary, so hopefully we can help you out here a bunch today. I need to give a huge shout out. We're gonna skip over to a screenshot really fast because this was from McLuvin. You can sort of see his name here in the background a bit. He is from the Sin cluster, and he was actually the one. I was chatting to him last night. I was asking, hey dude, like what sort of teams are you using in your clan? He's in Wrath, which is the top clan in Sin. I was like, what sort of teams are people using? What's working well? So he's showing me some ideas, and this was actually the team that he ran in Brutal. Okay, this was what he ran on Brutal, and he got 36 million. So he got that one key on Brutal, and he had some really interesting builds like Guardian Set Arbiter, which obviously I don't have, but we're going to show you some other sorts of builds that work like that, how the team works, and all the rest. I also, before we dive in, I did do my own run of this. I did 2 different variants last night, and I did some more variants today as well, testing this out. The first variant, I call this variant, you need less healers than you think, where we've got Shamail, Lydia, Arbiter, Geomancer, Royal Guard, and Krisk. So the only one we have that can heal is Arbiter, and she only heals you when you're below half health. So I thought this was just funny. I often see people bringing in like a whole team of healers. They'll have like a Badel, an Operdin, a Brogni. I don't know. They'll have just this entire team of healers and no one to actually do damage. And they're kind of struggling. It's like, you probably need less healing than you think. This was definitely sketchy. This was definitely a spooky run. As you can see, the issue I ran into with the run is that you're often running this mastery. Let me hang on. Chris has it. This one, right? Lifestealer, where you heal a tiny bit when attacking with 50% HP or less. I have that on nearly everyone for Hydra. So people would get to like 50% HP and they'd heal themselves to like 50.1, and they're sitting at 50.1, and then Arbiter's like, yo, listen, I can't hit. You know, you need less than 50%. So Arbiter plus that mastery went badly, but we still got through. It was pretty spooky. Oh, and I did the actual run here last night as well, and it did work last night too. We did it in 48 turns that time. But yeah, this worked with the Krisk. It was spooky though, but it was fun. But yeah, just stuff to watch out for. I'll show you the gearing and stuff like that too. Let's dive into this team. Let me actually run it from the start so you guys can see the opener and all of that. We'll sort of jump around a little bit. If you guys want to see like the full unedited stuff without like some Irish idiot flapping his arms around, getting cut off by a green screen and that, I do put up the full unedited version. I put up just the raw video of me doing this nearly every single time I do one of these videos for members of the channel. So it's like a Twitch sub. You can sub, and yeah, basically you get a few perks like that, like a little badge, and I reply to comments and all that sort of thing. But yeah, that's one of the perks. I stick up the full unedited run. But here we go. We're diving in. What is the team? What have we got going on? We've got Inquisitor Shamail. He is here on the far left. One thing, I think he just did it right there. I wasn't looking actually. But one cool thing he does is A1, when he counterattacks whenever people get debuffs, and that can actually remove buffs from the enemy, which is kind of cool. He can sort of slowly strip off that increased attack from the Head of Wrath, stuff like that, which is nice. Not a priority to build him like that. But it's just something to note. The main thing that he's in here to do, of course, is to remove fears, right, from the Head of Torment. He removes those fears, and if you watch Geomancer's turn meter consistently throughout this fight, you'll see whenever he removes a fear, it actually boosts whoever is in the lead slot. So I've got Geomancer in the lead. Look at his turn meter right now. You can see it popping up. So Shamail's just going to give tons and tons and tons of turn meter to whoever is in the lead spot. And he's counterattacking whenever you get debuffs. Also actually kind of rips through the Head of Blight, the poison head, really quickly. So whenever Head of Blight shows up, he'll actually kill it pretty fast because he just keeps counterattacking it. The downside is your runs last really long. About half of the run is going to be sitting there watching Shamail wave his crossbow around. So, you know, that's something you got to prepare for. That's the downside of this rotation for sure. But yeah, he is in there doing that. I haven't built for damage, and as you can see, he actually smacks really hard. So it's actually quite useful. For hard difficulty, he doesn't need to be super tank. Well, he's not pure built for damage. Like, I'll show you my builds. It's not like he's 30k health and 1.5k defense. No. He's more like 40 or 50k health and maybe 2,000 or 2,500 defense. Like, he's not super squishy, but he's got some damage, which works okay. As you saw, McLuvin has him in Guardian set. We'll talk more about that in a bit. We have Archbishop Pinthroy. He's in there beside. He's giving us AoE block buffs. He also gives us increased accuracy, which is quite useful for the other champions like Royal Guard and Shamail, who might not have a lot of accuracy. Look at Arbiter come in here. Great. And the other thing that he does, Pinthroy, is that his A3 gives you a big heal, gives you increased defense, and gives you a big shield as well. So his A3 is really nice. Now, he is very replaceable with Ugo. I tested this out with Ugo instead of Archbishop, and for me it didn't work as well. Archbishop actually worked better. One of the issues is that Archbishop is green affinity, so he can land block debuffs consistently on the Head of Wrath, who is the one that you want to get block debuffs on. You really want, with this team, we don't have decreased attack, so you really need to stop Head of Wrath getting increased attack, and you really want to stop him getting reflect damage as well. So you really want block debuffs on him. Excuse me, you want block buffs on him. Yeah, Archbishop does that more consistently than Ugo, and the increased defense is quite nice. But Ugo can definitely work as well. McLuvin was saying that he would prefer to run Ugo. I found that I preferred Archbishop. It's going to depend sort of on your gear and who you got going, but you can use Ugo, who's just an epic, in the place of Archbishop, which is cool. Arbiter is in here, gives us increased attack. Everyone on this team actually uses attack for damage, so it's a nice damage increase. She gives us lots of turn meter. She is the primary, I guess, healer as well with the increased attack move, and she is also giving us AoE revive, which is great. She also gives you a weaken on her A1, which is actually very good as well. That weaken is really, really nice. And Geomancer also gives you weaken on his A3. So potentially we could replace Lydia. I'll talk about that in a second, due to Arbiter also bringing you weaken. So that was quite fun to bring her in this week. Geomancer in the lead. He's obviously giving us AoE decrease accuracy on his A1. His A1 just pumps out quite a bit of damage. He's getting super boosted by Head of Torment and Shamail. And yeah, he's just giving us damage reduction. 15% of the damage you would take is removed from you and deflected onto the enemy. So he makes your team way tankier, and he's deflecting damage onto these heads with the burns. The only real rule here is we never burn the Head of Torment. We want to keep it alive as long as we can. So we're never going to put HP burn on Head of Torment. We'll try to put it on everything else. Lydia then. Lydia is up next. Lydia is giving us decreased defense and weaken AoE, which is useful but not essential. In fact, because Arbiter and Geomancer both give single target weakens, you could actually switch Lydia out for just another decreased defense champion. That could work. The thing that she does, though, which is why I'm bringing her in, is the main thing is she gives you strengthen and increased speed on that same move. And strengthen and increased speed are really good. Strengthen is one of the, the undersung heroes of Hydra. It's 25% damage reduction, and that is a big deal. So yeah, that's, kind of why I've brought her in. I think you could potentially switch up this team, right? And I'll show you some other options. You could bring in Ugo, for example. That could work, or maybe someone with decreased attack. But it gets tricky. If you got a Krisk, then it definitely opens up the door there. But yeah, I'd recommend generally bringing Lydia if you can. And then we've got Royal Guard for damage. Royal Guard's also giving us decreased speed, and he can land that decreased speed thanks to the increased accuracy that he is getting from Archbishop Pinthroy. So that's basically how the team works. You can see we're up to 15 million at this point. If we skip ahead, zoom, we're smashing this stuff. There's obviously a bit of luck, right? The more that Head of Torment respawns, the better. Head of Torment's amazing for you. It just sort of depends what head respawns. But there you go. Again, in this run, bam, 21 million right there. We're easily pushing through. That's 43 turns in. You can probably go all the way to like 100 turns, and that's when you really start to get eaten very quickly and things really fall apart. It's a long run because of the animations of Shamail, but we do get there at 21 million. So there you go. Let me show you the builds, and let me show you how this actually works and how it comes together. So I want to return first to really interesting builds that McLuvin used. So he's using lots of Guardian sets. He's Guardian on Arbiter. He has Guardian on Inquisitor Shamail. This is very good for your supportive champions, right? Guardian set. It's like a mini ally protection. It's just going to give that flat damage reduction to your squishy champions like Royal Guard. It just sort of spreads it out. It evens it out. It's a very, very good set. It also gives some direct healing to those champions as well. So running multiple Guardian sets can actually be very good. Can be very, very good. Another thing that you might want to do is be building high resistance on your champions. You can see for me, my Arbiter, she's just my Arbiter for Arena. So she's just built for speed. I don't have the luxury of putting her in a Guardian set, and you might not either, just with the teams that I have running in Arena right now. So for me, my Arbiter, she's in her bog standard sort of Arena build, which is just going fast, and she's just going fast here, and that's really it. I would say if I was building her specifically for Hydra, which is what McLuvin did, Guardian set is definitely worth considering, or just sets that up her stats. The big change I would love to make to mine, I could even drop her speed, it's not that important, but I'd love to up her resistance. For hard Hydra, you really want something along the lines of 420 resistance. It would be the number to aim for, so that even without decreased accuracy on Head of Mischief, you can still resist everything he does. And also when Head of Blight comes in and starts poisoning, that's a lot of damage. You can resist all of that. You can resist the provokes from Head of Wrath. It's just fantastic, right? So getting up to 420 resistance on your supports if possible makes a big difference. I didn't have that on all of mine, but it does work. So for example, Lydia, I have really high resistance, 470 resistance, 370 accuracy. She's pretty much good for Nightmare Hydra like this. And we're doing that by putting things on her like resistance chest and resistance banner with a full set of perception to hit those markers. So doing things like that is very valuable, and making sure to roll up pieces of gear that have speed and resistance, or speed and accuracy, that sort of thing, like speed, double resistance, double speed. You get the idea. Basically stacking these things up, mix and match the pieces to get where you want. So that's Lydia. Lydia, by the way, her masteries are like this. Arbiter, her masteries are like this, and this is her build. My Krisk is also in high resistance. My Krisk is unbooked, which is part of the problem with Krisk. His masteries are like that. Mine is unbooked right now, which definitely gets in the way of team comps. If you do have a booked Krisk, then it becomes much better. But yeah, I'll just show you what he looks like, just because we showed that fun build at the start. Coming down then, so the other champions, Archbishop Pinthroy, I have him right now in protection set. It's okay, but you know, he's much better in a Guardian set, to be honest. And you can see that his stats are fine, but he's got a lot of crit rate, which he doesn't really need. So I'm probably going to re-gear him when I actually finally get some silver one of these days. I got too much stuff to work on with my silver. But again, cranking his resistance up would be the go-to for sure. And his masteries are like this. So again, the extended buffs, the extended debuffs, and War Master, pretty standard across the board. And then for the epics, Shamael, he's built like this. It's down to War Master. And he's just in 3 sets of Cruel, guys. That's all he's in. And like I said, you know, he's built reasonably tanky, but he also has got a bit of damage. He's a bit of an all-rounder. It's not the best build, but as you saw, it works just fine for hard Hydra, so I can't complain too much about that. McLuvin had a completely different build. He has his Shamael built as just a support, so he's just built him tanky. He's just there to do Guardian set, and he's still doing decent damage, right? It's obviously not on the level of Royal Guard or Geomancer, but it's higher than Lydia, it's higher than Archbishop, so it's not too bad. You can see actually when it comes down to it, like Arbiter for him wasn't even doing that much healing. It's mostly Archbishop Pinthroy. Relentless set on Archbishop Pinthroy or Ugo, also a really good option if you're running those. Then Geomancer, I believe I was running the tanky Geomancer, so he's in deflection, he's built tanky. Again, I actually think that this Geomancer over here is built a little bit better. He has enough resistance to resist Head of Mischief if he himself lands decreased accuracy. He's a bit squishy though, is the only thing. So that's this Geomancer. So he's okay. He's got a few 5-star pieces which are holding him back. He's in reflex set, but that works well. Like I said, my other Geomancer is what I actually used, and he's working better against Head of Wrath because he is a lot tankier. He just doesn't have reflex set, which is a bit of a bummer. And his masteries, he just has, you know, the better debuffs, and he's got War Master, and that's pretty much it. And then we had Royal Guard. Royal Guard is unfortunately, his masteries are like that. He's unfortunately very slow, but he isn't relentless. I'm not sure if it's worth it because his speed is so low, so I might need to crank that up. But again, he is built to be tanky. Attack has been pretty much ignored. High crit rate and as high crit damage as we can. But I think speed is maybe a bigger priority. So I just find he's very slow. He's very slow. You'd really rather this be like 220, 230, maybe even higher if you can. Something like that would be better. Like I was re-gearing my Husk, who does a similar job, and my Husk is up to like 230 speed. The crit damage is lower, but Husk might even be better, to be honest. Husk might even be better. He's in a Savage set. Yeah, so there you go. That is the sort of stuff that is going on. But I just felt that it seems like people are really struggling They're struggling with the Hydra a lot at the moment. Like in my clan here, people are definitely having a tough time. It's definitely not as easy as I was probably initially thinking it would be. It's definitely harder. And yeah, so there you go, guys. These are the teams. So this was the Krisk team I ran right here. Again, I would upgrade this Krisk team. If Krisk was booked, Krisk could come in and he could put increased speed and give himself increased defense and then extend it and keep that stuff running, and he'd be tanking Head of Mischief and giving you increased speed. And in that case, a better version of this team, you could take out Lydia and bring in Ugo and use Ugo's healing, use the block buffs AoE, and you'd still have speed covered and you'd still be tanky enough with Krisk being booked. But, you know, my Krisk unbooked, we ran it like this. It definitely got spicy because he could miss his decrease attack sometimes. He's just, his cooldowns are very long. His decreased speed is only a 30% chance to land. So he definitely struggles. But anyway, this would be a better sort of version of that team, which would be a pretty solid sort of team right here. Pretty solid sort of team. And then this is the team that we actually ran in today's video. And again, just to show you their stats, no AI presets because I ran it on manual, but we had Geomancer, Royal Guard, Archbishop Pinthroy, Arbiter, Lydia, and Inquisitor Shamail. So there you go, guys. Let me know if you have any questions. I could try to answer them down below. Like, comment, subscribe, all the rest. Like I said, the full video, the full raw footage will be up there for members of the channel as well if you want to see that. And good news, I've got plenty I've got plenty of other videos because there's a lot of different tactics you can use in this rotation. So it's not just going to be this. I'm going to be working on plenty of other videos and seeing what sort of strategies we can put together for the higher difficulties and all the rest. So guys, thanks for watching. I hope that you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.